So hi everyone, wonderful,
Okay.
wonderful to chat today.
We were connected previously in
we're,
Outlier as well.
we're starting the talk today about AI agents and how to win in this new era of AI agents, how to be successful, what's needed, and how can blockchain
And what you're
help us
focusing
all
on right now?
build better AI agents and better models in this world. So thank you all for coming. We'll start with some introductions to our friends here in the panel. So yeah, please introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name is Tom Trowbridge. I'm a co-founder of Fluence. Fluence is building and has actually launched a decentralized compute platform. So we started with CPUs, which power most of the internet, like 95%. We'll add support for GPUs as well. But we're big believers in the need for decentralized compute. And before Fluence, I helped found Hedera Hashgraph.
To my office from July 7th.
Guys, I think the mic in the corner is on. His mic is on in the corner. Guys, hello, tech.
Guys.
His mic is on.
Yeah,
His mic is on.
My calendar link.
Yeah.
All right.
All
yeah.
right.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you
so
well.
cool. Yeah. So my name is Mathieu Baudet. I'm the founder of
Details
Linera.
about the L1.
Linera is a real-time layer 1 blockchain that we created, to enable new kinds of applications that really need low latency at scale, low latency interactions between users, AI agents, application chains, and services. So make all that possible at Linera.
Yeah, and hi everyone. My name is Clara Tsao. I'm the founding officer of the Filecoin Foundation. For those that don't know Filecoin, we're the world's largest decentralized storage platform. We have a whole network of decentralized data centers all around the world run by entrepreneurs. We've been around since 2014, where our white paper was written. And in the world of AI and AI data, I think some studies estimate by the end of 2026, 80 to 90% of new data on the web will be AI generated. We're really thinking about what the storage look like and how do we have that ability to trust, verify, and also prove where the source of data comes from. So we're super excited to be here, and we're super excited to also talk more about our work.
Hello. Yeah. So I hope everyone can hear me. Yeah. So I'm Kamesh, one of the core contributors of Openledger. Openledger is a blockchain which is specifically designed for AI. So we all know, AI needs a lot of data, but there is no any data provenance right now in the Web2 industry. So we try to solve that right now, giving a data pipelining tooling and then fine-tuning tooling and then making the model more explainable. So the whole idea of Openledger is to figure out a way how data leniency can be tracked, and then based on how model is using the data, they have to get paid. So that's a concept called proof of attribution. So Openledger is fully blockchain for designed specifically for building models and collecting the data and building agents and making it more verifiable and transparent. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll introduce myself. My name is Tomer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Addressable. Addressable is an AI company that builds the user database for crypto. And when profiling users on-chain, a few hundreds of millions of them, we connect them to their off-chain identities, to their off-chain characteristics, so that any company on-chain and off-chain can enjoy blockchain users in a more robust way with go-to-market, retention, and fraud detection. We'll start from the first question, which is probably one of the biggest in the field. AI is eating the world. You see all the centralized AI companies accumulating all the GPUs, generating most of the revenue in the field. And the main question I have for all my friends here is, when blockchain and decentralization comes to play, what is the major problem we're solving? Why do we need blockchain and decentralization in the AI world? What problems that we face today can be solved by decentralization that is introduced by those four companies you represent?
Sure. I guess I'll start with this, and it's it gets into pretty philosophical and society-wide implications. But AI is fast becoming a source of truth, the way Google has, right? And so as AI becomes a source of truth, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's XAI, and those companies get big, inevitably they get pressure from governments, from shareholders, from board members, from interest groups, from activists to pressure, to lead, to censor, to tilt, to delete, etc. Right? So whenever you have an overwhelming source of truth that people go to, what that truth is matters to a lot of people, and there are a huge amount of pressures that come to bear on those businesses. And it's not their fault, it just happens. And you've already seen it with Google, right, in their image search. And that crazy Gemini example that went out where they would ask to generate images and they were just wildly off because of the biases and pressures that those team members felt, which comes from the culture, which comes from shareholders, which comes, all the way down, right? So that's the problem set. And so decentralization can help remove those influences for better and for worse. But when you have a decentralized AI, there aren't shareholders, there aren't board members, the governments aren't involved, right? That can be a far more trustworthy AI and trustworthy solution to this source of truth problem that we have. And one of the views I have is eventually a decentralized AI will be the most trusted because everything else is going to be pushed and pulled in various directions. And you can already see it, and there are lots of examples of OpenAI in particular that have had, that's been the subject of a number of biases. So that's from a running AI perspective. And then decentralization can help in terms of fault tolerance and help in terms of resiliency, can help in terms of low cost and democratization, right? You talked about the, and sorry to go on here, but a really important point, the need for GPUs and the dominance of the large companies in monopolizing those spaces, right? If you're starting off, you're not going to be able to accumulate the number of GPUs that these 2 large or 3 large now companies, or 4 if you start Asia, have. So how do you access that? Through decentralized markets, of whom some people on this panel are building and others not on the panel are. You can actually rent a huge amount of scale with very little upfront capital and actually compete with the largest players out there. So it also, decentralization and those marketplaces enable small players to scale and to compete with the vast amounts of capital large players have as well. So I could keep going, but I'll stop.
Yeah, and I can jump in really quick to what Tom just said. I think the race for accurate and trustworthy AI is also a race for data. As much data AI can be trained on that's open and trustworthy, that's really where decentralized storage, decentralized compute, all of this supply chain of what powers AI becomes really important. A lot of people may not fully understand what goes in to actually running an AI model and building an AI agent at the very top and the infrastructure layer at the very bottom. And for us at Filecoin, we are starting to see already deep decentralization in the Web 2 data ownership space. OpenAI, to add to what Tom said, just a few months ago launched ChatGPT memory. A lot of people today are using AI agents to talk about their deepest thoughts, relationships, breakups, therapists, and they might be talking about really critical questions related to their company, investors, whatever it is. And all of that is probably being backed up on Microsoft Azure because Microsoft is the biggest shareholder in OpenAI. And so when you think about, is the content that you're saving on ChatGPT, is that something that you actually trust big tech with? I think that's a really important question where a lot of people may not actually realize where their data is going to, how it's being used, whether they're going to train that data for advertising so that you might get an ad to see a therapist after telling it some of your darkest thoughts, right? And so I think those are really clear examples where a lot of people don't realize that big tech today is owning most of the AI that most consumers are touching. And we really believe that this really should be a transparent process. We're going to see a web that's going to be more open, and there's going to be a lot of questions. Can creators, who are content creators, be able to have ownership over their data? How do they make sure and prove that that's their life work? And you can do that with the ability to track and trace and verify where that source of data comes from. When you think about the storage layer of being able to identify content by its ID and by its unique hash. And that's what Web3 can really offer that is so different from just Web2. We're also going to see a world where it's agent-to-agent communication, where there may not be even someone in between that is paying for an AWS bill. And it's really great to also see Web3, a lot of companies innovating on that edge of thinking about those kinds of deep questions. And this concept of data DAOs, I think, is particularly fascinating when we think about an agent-to-agent world where maybe not one person is owning the AWS bill they're paying. It's a shared fractional ownership of data. And those are really cool things that you can really do and innovate when you think about what's happening with the AI future we're going to live in.
Maybe I can add a couple of points.
All right.
So I don't believe in thesis like, Web3 can compete with the Web2 companies because we already have a severe challenges in scaling our own ecosystem. Web2 is super big, and then the transaction what we see is like millions and millions. I don't think we can compete with the Web2 companies, but we believe there is one aspect that she was rightly pointing out on the data provenance and those kind of things. I think we can try to work with the Web2 companies in handling the, because we don't really care about privacy, right? Because we all use Gmail, we all use YouTube and all the other platforms. So as long as we getting paid for the data, right? I think because we don't mind uploading content on YouTube now, right? Because YouTube somewhere is paying us something, right? So at least we get the visibility and some business or something. But in this case, Web2 AI companies try to scrape this data indirectly and then utilizing it and making revenue out of it, right? But they never share anything to the end creator. So that is the biggest problem. I believe that, Web3 can play some role because we can track the provenance of the data and then making the model more explainable. Right now, the biggest challenge, Web2 companies, even they want to pay to the data contributor, and that is the case, but still there is a challenge technologically. Model is always a black box. You can't figure out, once you fine tune the data, you can't figure out which data is really influencing the model, right? If you're not able to figure out that, then how come it's possible to pay the data, contributor? So that's fundamentally is the problem. So I think if the next step is going to be more like making model more transparent so that, if you ask a particular query, from which data and which file this query is able to answer, if you can see like a log file where we see which data is really influencing. So based on that, who provided the data, if you're able to track that on chain, then it really makes sense to, figure out a system around that. We work with a lot of, bigger enterprise companies. So we work with one of the biggest e-commerce firm in building a model more transparent. We work with one of the maybe upcoming search engine, right? So I can't tell the name. So which is more like an AI search engine. So in terms of figuring out the provenance and other thing, right? They use all the data. So you see millions of legal cases are going on around the, legal companies trying to go, hey, they're using my data, but they're not paying to us, right? That is a problem I think definitely Web3 companies can solve. So that's why we're going deeper into that place, because the challenge always we have in other platforms are scalability is a huge challenge in Web3. I don't think Web3 scalability problem can be fixed, but I believe this kind of trackability and trust, right? I think that is something will make a big difference, because I end up in a couple of decades back, I used to spend a lot of money on Google AdWords and AdSense and those kind of programs, millions of money. I don't really know the transparency on that, right? Someone say, hey, you got 10 clicks and then you have to pay $50, and then whether they paying them $50 or they pay only $5, they take 90% out of it. It is always a black box, right? So that is a problem with the Web2 companies. But anyway, we don't mind even now with YouTube also, what we paying, but at least they're paying something. Is that fine at least, right? That is not even happening in AI. So that is a problem that I think blockchain companies can fix.
All right, cool. So I wanted, hi everybody. I wanted to change gear a little bit. So we've talked a lot about AI, decentralized AI, in general, how crypto can help AI. I think it's great. It's super, I think it's very, convincing, and I'd love to see that. There's one problem is that when you talk to pure AI companies right now, they don't really understand what you want to do with them. You want to help them, but they don't really want to be helped. I hope that the world is going to realize that, indeed we need more decentralized AI. So what I wanted to talk to you just now is more about AI agents, like what we can do today. So today we have AI agents. We're going to see them running locally, so hopefully in a more trusted way than in big tech servers very soon. And people are going to want to do something with the AI agents. And crypto has a lot to offer. We can help AI agents have access to a financial system that we're just creating that is programmable, that is basically a dream for AI agents to play with. There's only one problem. I think currently blockchains, if we plug AI agents to the current blockchains, I think it's going to be a mess in terms of security. At least that's my thesis. We have cut corners. We are relying, like currently, clients to access to blockchains, they have to use third parties. Trust the RPC providers to mediate all the data basically that you want to write or read from the blockchain. And now, when it's a human in the loop doing that, that's fine. We've made peace with this idea that we can trust API providers. But now, if you automate everything, you use AI agents. So imagine those trading agents. They're going to take data directly from centralized entities and then take actions on top of that. Maybe we end up with a network of AI agents that want to interact with each other. But if we don't do anything, all of them will be essentially trusting centralized entity to kind of figure out what's going on the blockchain and without a direct access. And mark my words, I think we're going to see a few problems. At Linera, what we're trying to do is I think we need to change the architecture of clients, how we interact with blockchain. So this is what we did at Linera. We have changed the architecture, the design of a layer 1 blockchain. We've created this notion of sparse client that allows essentially the same level of security as a full node without the trouble of running a full node. If you're familiar with the concept, that's usually very work intensive, something that normal, regular users are not going to be able to do on their computer. And that's why they use third-party providers. And so at Linera, what we're proposing is to change how we organize the block space so that users can have locally a copy of the block space that they care about, of the on-chain data that they care about. And we found that it's actually really nice when you it's really a big enabler for the security of AI agents that any user might run.
Thank you. I deeply agree that a lot of the AI companies today don't want to be helped, and I'd like to ask, because the adoption of crypto and decentralized infrastructure in the AI industry that is moving so fast is still very, very limited. So the data provenance and the data infrastructure and physical infrastructure and even different types of sensitive data that you want to keep away from the models, all of that are use cases for crypto to help AI to become more private or more transparent. And yet, it's very, very limited in the adoption. Most of the companies run fast and adopt very little of that. And what I want to ask in a more forward-looking question is, what is, in your opinion, in 3 years, and try to be short in your answer so we can all hear each other in the limited time. In 3 years from now, what do you think will be the use? So AI is going everywhere in every use case. So what will be the use case that will enjoy blockchain the most when you talk about AI use cases? What will be the use case that there will be the most user adoption and AI provider adoption that will use blockchain as a must-have thing? And let's start from Kamesh.
Yeah, I would say, because I spend a lot of time on this to figure out which will really give a business impact for long run. Right? I see, because I believe the power of Web3 is all about bringing 100,000 members to a particular channel or medium as a community. Right? Anything which we can do with the community, I think we can definitely win. Right? That is what the diversification of various people from various countries can do something together to AI. What is that particular use case? So that is the way we were started thinking about that. we find some interesting use cases. Like one of the interesting point is data and like RLHF and all those kind of things. But I believe in the next couple of years, I believe there will be definitely there will be a big legal challenges will naturally occur, right? So they may need some kind of trackability for model. I think for sure there will be agents will do a lot of, a lot of challenges with the agents in practical day-to-day. Definitely agents need trackability. I believe in the next couple of years there is going to be a trackability system, right? Where Web3 companies can really play there. So I feel like, trackability and verifiable agents and, verifiable data, those kind of things will definitely get a adoption for at least for a specific category of business like legal and some IP and so not like entire world will use Web3, but some niche categories definitely they can utilize the Web3. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add to Kamesh's point. I think in the next 3 years, we're going to see a much more open web because we're going to see so much data that's just created by people leveraging AI and creating more data than ever. And people want to verify, hey, is this AI generated? Is it not? Is this book written by an AI or is it actually by the author? Like I said earlier, content creators want to be able to get attribution for their work. You're going to see huge interesting lawsuits probably happen in the IP space. You're going to see regulation. You can look at the EU AI Act today that has a lot of indication that they're looking for the ability to track exactly which models are being taken for different kinds of work, and they're pressuring that on companies. I actually came from the government space. I spent around 4 years in the US government across 2 different administrations, and a lot of policymakers today, they'll just end up putting on nonsensical policy when they don't understand the tech behind it. And so I do agree that we're going to see a lot more transparency demands, especially from countries where it's not necessarily as tech leaning. But at the same time, I am incredibly bullish on the area I'm most passionate about, which is decentralized storage, because that's a fundamental layer where you can actually, at the end of the day, track where content is being stored, how it's created, what data sets are changed over time, and you can do that in all transparent reporting. And a lot of the data that we store today on Filecoin, we have 4.1 exabytes of available storage, is already public data that a lot of AI models are being trained on. And so we want to make sure that as people are thinking about use of AI, you can verify everything from content to images, making sure it's not necessarily AI generated. Journalists are already using our technology today to verify that their photographs are taken at the source of upload. You can also be able to track scientific data sets over time. If you're running a huge experiment, spending millions of dollars, there's huge use cases in the DeSci space where you don't want to accidentally use the wrong set of data when you're creating all these complex computations and someone else on the other side of the world is trying to run that very similar experiment. So I actually think it's less about let's bring blockchain to blockchain to AI. It's really the fundamental building blocks of how blockchain is built, where it's probably the perfect ingredient for being able to scale and act in a way that we're already seeing AI agents and AI models being built today. We're going to see a more distributed ecosystem of the web with AI. And I think there's so many additional opportunity for people really thinking about the payment space to do exactly that disruption. The reason why agents are so popular in crypto is because there is such strong product market fit and there's a financial incentive for why people would leverage AI agents. I actually don't see that in traditional Web 2 yet, where people might have agents, but it might be, more playful than it is actually opportunistic and actually money moving around. But we're already seeing that a lot in the DeFi and token space today of a lot of people leveraging agents to trade. My big wish also for AI in crypto is seeing a lot more usability improve in blockchain so that we can really onboard the next million users onto crypto, because a lot of the challenges with crypto is really usability, that you can automate a lot of the complexity out of the way, and the best builders, the best engineers can really work on making the tech great, and we can really build those beautiful front-end experiences that make payments to storage to everything else seamless and easy to use.
Thank you.
Yes, I love the use case of data traceability. I agree with generalized AI-generated content everywhere. It's going to be a fascinating problem to figure out what's true and what's not. We at Linera, we're actually working with a deepin company that is interested in having a connected device, so device connected to the blockchain, and by device here I mean, for instance, cameras, surveillance cameras, and the idea would be like, in case you need to extract a snapshot for an investigation or something, there'll be a chain of custody of the data from the origin, thanks to the connection of the device to a blockchain, in particular like Linera, that can take this kind of volume of connections from many devices. I think, obviously, tracking the origin of AI models would be amazing. I don't know how feasible it is. Those are like really difficult beasts to tame. It's so challenging, so expensive to train AI models these days that if you come and add problems on top of that, it may, adding cost to the training of the AI models. We're talking about millions, tens of millions. That might be a difficult discussion, but I think there will be a demand eventually for very rigorous tracking of AI training. And of course, AI agents, starting with, I think, personal AI agents. So everybody already have some form of an AI assistant somewhere in a browser tab, all right? That could translate into AI assistants that are widely used, that are installed on your computer, have access to your data. It's probably going to be part of the operating system very soon. And hopefully there will be plugins, there will be ways for people to hack and connect those AI agents with their favorite blockchains and favorite DeFi applications.
I have a slightly different view, which is I think of AI agents as consumers, not just for personal, but business. So I was with a guy yesterday who has 2 full-time employees just managing his cloud spend, right? That should be and will be an AI agent very soon. AI agents will be doing the purchasing, the sourcing for tech and all kinds of other spends from behalf of companies. And what does that mean? They will be the most efficient consumers out there. If you are not well known, if your UX or UI isn't good, doesn't matter, right? They will be ruthless consumers in terms of price and performance, particularly in the Web3 world. And so agents have the potential to actually lead adoption of a whole number of Web3 products that may not be quite ready for traditional companies to adopt because they're not quite mature enough on the UI. UX isn't there. They don't have the BD teams. But for an AI agent that for whom all of that stuff is irrelevant, they could be the target consumer. And so I view AI agents as actually leading consumption, leading adoption of the most efficient Web3 products, which obviously are efficient because of the blockchain underlying and token economics of them all.
Thank you. We're at the end of our time. I'll say one sentence about AI agents in crypto. I believe that the best problems today will not be the worst problems in 3 years from now. We'll see a lot of new problems coming up when everybody has an AI agent that buys from them, do their errands, and do their official work, unofficial work, and some hobbies. We'll have a lot of non-human entities, so each one of us will have them to do a lot of things. And my perspective is that blockchain and Web3 will be used to verify humanness for people. So it will be very hard to know if there's a human in the other side or someone on behalf of a human. And it will be very hard to know. And any human test today can be passed by AI. So I think the best way to prove that you are a human, that you have only one instance, you are a non-fungible human, is by blockchain provenance. And this problem will be a big problem of the future, very near future, to just have human provenance for any interaction that you have in the digital world. I want to thank you all for coming today and for the wonderful chat. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.